All right, so take a few moments to settle yourself in, settle yourself down into the body. So taking your place on your mat or on your pillow or whatever it is you're sitting on. So see this idea of taking your place as being sort of multi-dimensional, that you're taking your place, not only this physical space coming into this part of your room where you're going to practice yoga, but that's a part of it, right? You're coming into a very different place than you were perhaps a moment ago or a half hour ago. And then coming to a sense of coming into your own space inside the body. Enter the body. And then go ahead and close your eyes. And we'll just take a few moments to check in, to take your emotional temperature, if you will. Notice how you feel physically, what's going on with you today. Just anything kind of creeping through, anything arising to be noticed. Sometimes challenging things arise, but we can still say, come on in, let me see. And just sending yourself the message that you're gonna come into this place, connect with this process with kindness, that you're going to take care of yourself here. All right, and then as you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes. So we're going to begin our running list of postures for today. I'm going to start off with something for the calves. So you're going to need to stand, and I'm just going to demonstrate this with a couple pillows, but you can use a bolster. Sometimes I roll up a blanket. But you just want your foot to go up onto whatever it is. You could use a rolled up blanket. You could use a block for that matter. Those of you who have blocks, put your foot up on the block. The edge might not be as comfortable as the blanket or the pillow. They're softer. And if you can put both feet up onto the pillow. So this is gonna, the heels are gonna be on the floor, and the main part of each foot is gonna be up on the, whatever it is that you have there for it. So go ahead and do this. Some of you are just still sitting there watching. So this is going to open your calves. Which tend to shorten. Actually, all our muscles tend to shorten when we sleep. We kind of revert back. That's why it's so good to do yoga in the morning, because you can compare, you know, what is your waking body like? You know, noticing if flexibility is increasing in the morning. So you can do this. I try to do this many times in the day. It's good for your feet, good for your calves, good for the backs of the legs. So we'll just stay for another breath or two here. Okay, and then you can come down to sit. And so now we're going to use the pillows or the bolster, or you can even use a yoga ball for that matter, if you have one. That's what you've been using. And you're going to take your legs over the whatever you have there, bolster, pillow. You can take a whole bunch of blankets and do this, but you need it to be wide. Okay, so this is a variation of Kurmasan. Kurmasan is the turtle. So you want your knees to be wide, your feet are going to be together in front of you, touching, and your knees are have come over the pillow. I think I'm going to get something bigger. So the taller that you can do, the higher that you can make the prop that's underneath your knees, that kind of the nicer it will be for you. So you can take your arms then, kind of reach up and over the legs. And just drape yourself over, lengthening the back. Feel the spine increasing in length, and perhaps some opening in the lower back, the lumbar will happen. Closing your eyes. So just letting the elbows kind of move out to the sides a bit so that the shoulder blades, your scapula, can spread. And you can take another breath or two here. And start to push yourself up. And let's now prepare for a couple of downward puppies, some downward dogs. So coming to the mat to all fours, you're going to curl your toes under behind you. And so before you push up into a full downward dog, let's come down into the downward puppy. So the puppy is when you take your forearms to the ground. So the hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart, and you're going to kind of drop your elbows down and take your forehead to the floor if you can. And start to kind of creep back or crawl back with your knees. So the chest is opening. You might feel some sensation in the armpits as your subclavicle and your subscapularis open. And then From the puppy, take a breath. And you're going to straighten the arms and then straighten your legs and come all the way up into downward dog. So keep your heels up in the air, the heels of the feet. Spread your fingers. Bend your knees and roll your sit bones up. Just breathe and smile. One more breath here. And then as you're ready, lower yourself gently down onto your knees. And we're going to set up for child's pose. So take a couple of pillows or take that bolster, or the yoga ball will work as well. And we're going to come forward into a child's pose. So this variation, I'm going to encourage you to have your knees be a little wide. And you're kind of sitting on your heels. And if you need to, you could put a blanket or extra mat or something underneath your, underneath your legs. And then you're going to come over the bolster. And you can just turn your head to one side or the other. Close your eyes. Take a moment to find your breath. Take another breath here. And then as you're ready, you can begin to press yourself up. Come back to sit back on your heels, and let's practice another downward dog, or downward puppy first. The puppy grows up, right? So coming to the forearms again. So even just dropping the forearms to the floor, you might notice that that's intense enough as it is, right? So forearms on the floor, hands on the floor, spread your fingers. Kind of creep your knees back a little bit further, bring the forehead to the floor, and let the chest open, breathe. And then as you're ready, you can go ahead and straighten your arms again. And straighten the legs as you rise up. So you're lengthening down through the arms from the elbow creases all the way down to the thumb mounds. Try to extend out through the index fingers. And then lengthen up through the outer armpits and up through the sides of your chest, the sides of your waist. And then as you're ready, you can bring yourself back down. And so this time, let's practice a twisted child. So here you can take whatever you're going to use as your prop, and you're going to sit sideways behind the pillows or behind whatever it is. And your legs are kind of going to be draping off to the sides as you sit sideways. And then turn your back. We're going to rotate. We're going to twist. So twist so that you're turning your back to the pillows or to whatever it is that's over there. The yoga ball. So rotating first, or this is considered a derotation. Keeping the spine lifted. And then as you're ready, spinning forward. Now you're going to rotate to face the pillows or the bolster. Put your hands on top, push up, and then bring yourself down over whatever it is that you're lying on. Closing your eyes. Breathe deeply. See if you can bring yourself to be able to meditate on empty lungs. All right, so then you can take another breath here and push yourself up. And let's practice one more downward dog. 3 is always seems to be a good number. So coming back to the puppy, starting off, forearms on the floor, hands down, fingers spread. And then as you're ready, go ahead and lift up. So you're straightening the arms first, and then use the legs to press up. So taking your last breath here and bringing yourself back down. So you're going to set up with your pillows again, and this time you're going to rotate to the other side. So sit so the pillows are on your other side. De-rotating first. And then when you're ready, spinning to drape over the bolster. Closing your eyes. Stay with the breath. Just notice what you notice. And so as you're ready, you can start to push yourself up. Okay. So now we're going to do a seated forward bend. So many of you will need to sit up on a blanket because the backs of your legs are so tight. So you just want to grab a blanket and fold it so it's pretty smooth or uniformly the same height all around. And you can use your strap also. It might be helpful. So let's try, let's do Janu Shirsasana. That's a fun one. So your Janu is your knee and your Shirsha is your head. So you're going to be attempting to bring your head over the knee. Okay, so one leg, let's say the right leg is straight, left leg is bent, and you can just take the left foot. I like to tuck my foot kind of underneath my thigh a little bit, but it could also just kind of go alongside of the thigh. That's up to you. Also, if you need to, if this knee is way up in the air, you can use a pillow or something, or a folded blanket or bolster, whatever you have to prop up that knee, okay? Mine is okay on the floor. And then your strap is going to be used to lasso your foot. So it's kind of like that, what we did on the first week. Remember when we had the leg up in the air for Supta Padangusthasana? So it's a similar posture. And you can take your strap out to the sides, kind of wide. And as you're drawing the chest forward, so drawing the chest toward the foot, like you're trying to kiss your toes. Mwah! I love you, foot. So Trying to draw yourself forward, elbows are kind of wide. And you'll just start to notice those sensations in the backs of your legs, right? In the back of your leg, the straight one especially, you'll notice. So let's take another breath here. You can see if you can spread your toes. Nice wide toes. People who practice a lot of yoga, if you ever noticed this, have lots of spaces between their toes. Healthy feet. And then you can switch sides. So now we're going to do the straighten the other leg. Straighten the left leg, take the right leg out to the side. And again, if this knee is way up in the air, put something underneath it. So just check to make sure you're well on the whatever it is you're sitting on so that you don't feel crooked. You want to feel flush across your sit bones, and then you can lasso the foot. Take a few breaths and draw yourself forward. And again, so try not to go too far, too fast. I mean, if you're, there's no rule here that says you're trying to fold yourself completely in half or that you're trying to touch your toes. And if you are trying to get there, you're gonna miss all the good stuff. So you can even press through the heel and flex the foot a little bit more. You might notice more opening occurring in the back of your leg. Another breath. Notice what you notice. Be grateful for this body. Saying, thank you, body. Arigato, body. Okay, and then you can release your foot. So that was Janu Shirsasan. So now we're going to prepare for a Supta Baddha Konasana. So here you can use I've been liking stacking up my big pillows for this. And you want to have you're going to create like a ramp. Okay, so look and see, is it truly a ramp or is it more like a lump? Because you want your head is going to go on the highest part of this ramp. So you might need to, eye that up a little bit. You don't want to feel like your head is going to fall off the back. Sometimes a pillow is good for the head because it'll give you just that added little bit of height that you need. And you're going to sit in front of your ramp. Come up a little closer here. Seem to be falling off my screen. Okay, and then the feet come together. So this is Baddha Konasana. The feet are together. So again, if you're someone whose knees are really high up in the air, you're going to want to be able to support the legs somehow. So even if they're just a little bit up in the air, I suggest a couple of blankets, maybe, and if you can make them be the same size, that's helpful also. Another blanket is back here, so I guess I'll just take that. So you make a couple rolls for the legs. And put the roll so that it's under the You'll see that it's under the thigh and also underneath the side of the lower leg, right? So that you feel a sense of support with this. So now I need something else from behind me. Let's try this. So you can be creative with your props here, and then you're going to recline back. But just make sure your, like I said, your head is indeed higher than, say, the chest. And if it's not, then give yourself permission to come up and make sure that it's higher. You could even use a block for that matter under your head. And then you can just take your arms out to the side. Bring your chin down towards the throat. Close your eyes. Take a moment to find the breath. And just see if you can rest your attention or your focus right in the center of your chest. And just let the experience of breathing be felt right in the center of your chest. Imagining perhaps that your chest had nostrils. Instead of the nostrils being in your nose, imagine that your nostrils are right there, center of the chest. And that your chest is breathing the way that your nose does. Allow the chest to expand and condense. Come back to the breath. No matter what you were paying attention to, just simply let go and come back to the breath. All right, so you can slowly start bringing yourself back. Take your hands to your outer thighs and push the legs back together. And you can either push yourself straight up to come to sit up, or you can roll to your side and then push yourself up. Okay, so hopefully you have secured a wall space, as I suggested early on, so that you can put your legs up the wall. You can either use a bolster for this, or I guess I'll tell you what, I'll demonstrate today with a block. For those of you who may not have a rectangular bolster or something. You also could use two, if you have these nice thick yoga blankets, you could use two of those underneath the pelvis or the hips. So that would be a good prop as well. But for today, I'll just show you with a block. So you're going to find your space at the wall. And sit sideways to the wall, so that when you go to put your legs up the wall, you'll be as close to the wall as you possibly can be. Okay, so this would be the end result with your legs up. So if you're using a block, you can slide your feet down the wall, lift your hips up, and take the block and put it underneath the pelvis. So a block won't be as, soft, obviously, as a bolster would be. Although I guess you could put a blanket or something on top of the block to make it softer, or a little pillow or something. So you want to have a sense that with the pelvis on top of the block or the bolster, that the pelvis is kind of tilting a little bit, so that the face of the pelvis, the front rim of the pelvis is lifting or tilting up toward the ceiling, and your tailbone is tilting down toward the floor, so that the back of the pelvis appears to be kind of flush, feels like it's flush with on top of the block there. And then you can just take your arms out to the side. You could lift up your head with your fingertips so that the chin comes down towards the throat. And then gently put your head back down on the floor. Let the elbows bend slightly. Palms are facing up. And close your eyes. You can cover your body if you start to feel cold, or put your socks back on. And just letting go. Letting the body drop. Everything releasing. So you can take another breath here. Notice how you feel. Slowly walk your feet down the wall. Raise your hips up and pull the block out. And then lower your hips back down onto the floor. And then you can bend your knees and roll to the side. And push yourself up with your hands and come to sit up. Okay. Taking your hands together at the heart. Bow your head to honor yourself. And remember, you already have everything that you need inside. Namaste. And thank you all. Thank you for being. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day.